I'm just sad because now I have to start using Google Plus.
No, it's actually I don't honestly use it. I mean, as a user, I use it more as, I mean, I've got a lot of people in my circles and whatnot, and here's the reason for me why I don't use it is because I had my Google account before, or wait, I couldn't use it with my Google account, and then once I could, I had already built this other account with the same email. Remember that? And then Google, when I merged them, wouldn't let me merge the circles and stuff. So now I have this one account which has got like, you know, thousands of people in the circle, and then I have my real account.
It's a lot of work to manage all that stuff.
Well, that's why I just don't do it. But you know, Danny, probably a lot of our readers and viewers don't know that you were the first person to actually give me a chance to ever speak at an event.
Wow.
Yeah.
Was that first?
You were the first one. It was at Chicago, and I want to say it was 2006, I think.
Right. Wow. Yeah.
So I'd have to go back and look at the specific date. So 6 years ago, and it was, I was nervous as shit when I got up there. I was so scared. And now Affiliate Summit, where I gave the keynote, was it marked the 50th time that I've spoken at a conference.
Wow.
So,
that's great.
It's crazy. And so I have to thank you.
You were like such an awesome story. And I remember it may have been the 2006 one. It may have been a different one you were talking. And I was like listening to you talk thinking, I think I just want to quit and do what he's doing. But I mean, it was just such a great story about how you had built up your business and how you had found a whole new way of earning money and being successful online. And it's great when you hear that for anybody. And you still hear these stories from all sorts of people. You know, I remember the one thing that always stuck with me a lot too was, and I'm sure you recall Alan Dick from Vintage Tub and Bath. He used to do these dinners that would be in association with the shows or whatever, but he had started off kind of the same way. Somebody had pitched on wanting to be, you know, speaking or whatever, but he was running a little small bath and shop, you know, bath and bathroom supply type of things out of a small town in Pennsylvania. And they got known through the internet marketing that they were doing, and it turned out that they were getting orders from all over the place. And I remember him saying, like, you know, wow, you know, we've been able to hire and double our staff in this small place that, you know, really wouldn't have had this kind of opportunity before. And that's one of the interesting things I think about how the internet has changed stuff, is that, you know, it has let any kind of place wherever you live be an opportunity to be successful.
And just a side note, Danny, do you use HostGator?
No.
So HostGator actually is where we host all our stuff, and they actually, right now, if you go to their site and you put in Shoemoney as a code, you actually sponsor. You actually get your first month's hosting for only a penny. So thanks for HostGator to sponsor the show. And actually, I know the ads in between here are annoying people, so we're gonna get HostGator to actually spring for getting rid of those.
Pro Ustream account.
Pro account. So shout out to HostGator. Go there right now, put in code Shoemoney, and get your first month for a penny.
And okay, the more people that do that, they don't have to sit through ads next time. So.
Yeah. So it only costs you a penny, right? And then the rebill. So that's
yeah.
Which it's like $4 a month or almost.
We use HostGator,
or a little over $1 a month, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. So okay.
Yeah.
All right. So back to the show.
Oh yeah.
Did you like that little
thing? Yeah, that was a
segment. Okay. Danny didn't even know it was coming. He was like, I actually don't use HostGator. But he's gonna go sign up, so that's great. And all right, so
find a pinky around here somewhere, though.
yeah. So if you notice, my blog, and for those who are reading the blog and follow on Shoemoney.com plug, you actually will see that we've kind of switched back to SEO, and I'm actually pretty excited. Recently, you know, when I keynoted the Affiliate Summit, I wanted to go out kind of with a bang because I've given 3 keynotes total. The first 2, I didn't think were very good. I didn't think I was as prepared as I should have been. And this one I practiced for like 6 months, and I really exceeded my expectations on it. But the reason why it was my last time was because it's hard for me to relate to the people on the bottom level anymore in affiliate marketing, because the evolution of me is now when I write, you know, it's kind of like this pyramid, right? And so when I write now, it's doesn't relate to near as many people or when I speak as when I first started. Now with Google Plus and all this really cool stuff going, I've said, and I've razzed SEOs for a long time, as you know. They're fun to mess with sometimes.
They're easy to kick up a storm with.
Yeah, and I've done my fair share of kicking that horse over the years. So anyway, so I'm excited about the SEO industry again, and I'm excited to kind of and booking again, because I didn't go to SEO conferences there for a while because I was all into the affiliate and lead space, and like I said, I don't know that I have a lot of value to give speaking at those events anymore. Just I can rehash, but I don't need to tell my story and all that stuff so many times. And so anyway, I'm excited about the SEO space now, and with the Google Plus and all the social influence, and I think I do have a lot. That's how the blog started, was just from me sharing what I was having success with. So I'm excited.
That's cool. There's a lot of exciting things going on in it.
So that's awesome. And Danny runs the SMX Expo, which I've been to a couple events. Great show. I haven't been for a little bit, but I'm going to be going again. So one of the reasons I want to have Danny is I want to get free passes in the future. No, I'm just kidding. But I will hit him up. So
it's only a penny for the first one.
Yeah, only a penny for the first one, and there's a monthly plan, I guess. So yeah. That's great, an annual subscription.
We should do that, actually.
That would be, and you could get a pass to anyone you wanted. That would be interesting. That would be interesting. Somebody actually approached me about that with our Elite Retreat, because we're actually started to have mini events around others, and they said you should just do a flat fee, and then people can come to whichever ones they want. Anyway, so Danny, you've run conferences for so long. You've seen this whole evolution, not only from what's going on, but what's being taught to people and stuff like that. And I've actually been out of that circuit for a little while, and I'm getting back in. But how many now are really focused on local and things like Google Plus and sending social signals to Google?
There's quite a bit. Local is definitely of interest to a lot of people. I think it's a smaller audience. It's hard with the conferences because, there's so many people that's applicable to local, and yet most of them don't tend to go to conferences because they're small businesses and they haven't even really sort of thought about it. And so then you get people who specialize in local SEO who do get it, but I think there's still a smaller number of them. But the local space, there's always these changes that are going on there. Like just when they rolled out Google Plus, suddenly to complicate life in the local space, people had been dealing with Google Place pages, and now they had to have a Google Plus account for their local business that was different than a Google Plus brand page for a non-local business, which was different yet again from a Google Places page. And you're like, oh. So a lot to keep up in that sort of space.
And for those businesses, who normally, if I went to a business and let's say they were a vitamin supplement company, and when I go there, they rank for something because I'm looking for weight loss, which I could probably use a little searching for that right now.
No.
And so shut up. Not like you're skinny mini. So anyway, when I search, I'm not influenced by any Google Plus, of course, because it's just a shopping cart when I go to their site. So now, I believe it's more important than ever for companies like that to actually have a blog and actually interact with users. What's your take?
Well, you've got a couple things. For one, that when you're talking local, the geography is a big play now too. Mm-hmm. The having the bricks and mortar location that can be a big advantage to you. If you're talking more small business and I want to stand out, yes, I think definitely having a blog out there, or doing something that's got content beyond just selling. And again, when you go back and you look at like what happened with Penguin, it just speaks volumes that you need that. A lot of the people that seem to have been hit by Penguin, I just posted this thing on Marketing Land, right? And I gave all these quotes that came out of Penguin. People like, I don't get food on the table, or they're going after quality content, they're trying to wipe out small businesses. And then to give away the reveal, I said, but wait, these aren't quotes from Penguin. These are all quotes from the Florida update of 2003. They're exactly the same things people are saying about Penguin. And so it's like, what I'm finding when I look at these sites that have been hit and the times when people give examples is there's nothing that special about them. They're, they seem to have a website with a page or 2 or 3 here. Their idea of content seems to be taking the same article and rewriting it, often with some automated software, getting lots of links pointing back to yourself. That they put a lot of effort into really gaming or spamming, and not a lot of effort into content creation, which has been the thing that we've constantly heard and constantly said is what gets you going by. And if all that effort had been spent on building a great weight loss blog, and I mean a really great weight loss blog, where you're either tracking all the latest news that's going on in the weight loss space, or you're case studying different people, what they found to be successful, and you've really stood out as this must-have resource, that's what gets you through it. And that's sort of the long-term investment. But, that's harder than buying some software, that firing it up and figuring out that's the way to go forward.
Yep. And we've I sound like a broken record, and I know you've stressed on it too, is, Google, I made a post one time, don't make Google look stupid. And
I was reading that earlier today.
Interesting. I wrote it.
You read it every day, though, right?
Yeah, no.
I do.
And Matt Cutts has actually brought that up to me so many times. And the first time he said, I didn't agree with that. And then and I've had other people there say, it is true, because if you rank for something you shouldn't, you make Google look stupid. If you don't rank for for a long time, a lot of listeners don't know this, until 2000, I want to say first quarter 2009, Shoemoney.com was banned from Google. And I had made a post about, buy a pixel on this site. And it was one little thing that pissed off our friend, I think, over at Google. And I showed people how to, buy a link at this site, and it was a good investment. And next thing I know, all of my Shoemoney.com is out. And so for the longest time, if you would Google for Shoemoney, you wouldn't find me. And other people would lead you to it, and the same thing happened to John Chow. And eventually, I submitted a thing, and they said, well, if you just change this link, whatever. And the one interesting thing is, my Google traffic isn't great. I don't. If any of our Google friends are listening, you don't have to take me out to make my point. But I have so much junk traffic from Google that is like for Android, how to load Android ringtones to your phone. I think I rank first for that, and I rank highly for Paris Hilton because I have that picture with Paris Hilton, and just various other junk that just bounces. And I actually even said one time it would be interesting to chronicle, actually show all the statistics, my bounce rates and everything, if I actually completely pulled my site out of Google, completely blocked it, and then actually use just regular people sharing it, and because good content always wins. It doesn't matter. And I hope people, this is the point I'm trying to drive home as I'm digressing around and around, is that good content always wins. It doesn't matter if it's Google+, it doesn't matter if it's SEO, it doesn't matter if it's Twitter, Facebook, whatever. You write good stuff.
It'll find its way through.
It will.
Yeah.
That's how my blog started. You give value to people, and you write good content, or write content that people actually want to share or link to. Quit trying to game it, and it wins.
So we just devalued everything we just talked about.
No, not at all.
No, not at all.
Not at all.
I was going through, I literally had 4 different articles from your site, because there was a post that I was highlighting in the thing I wrote today, where you had someone saying, I'm swearing off Google. I'm gonna do it. And I was trying to find a good example. What I was saying was, that's not a new thing. People have said that over and over again when they go through this. And I thought you had done a post like that, and you actually had these other posts that weren't quite there, but they were still good, where you were saying, your way to be successful with Google is you need to be this must-read resource, that you need to be this thing that people have to have, that Google cannot do without. And that was all good advice, as well. And it is true. Google is not going to drop you, and Google is not going to want to lose a really, really good resource. It's just that takes much more work for people to do.
And I think it's also people, remember when BMW got dropped and some other things, people cried because they came right back. Well, that whole thing was because, guess what? When you Google for BMW or whatever, and you can't find BMW, that makes Google look incompetent. Okay.
You also get a lot of confusion too, where you have people come in and they don't they don't understand the real nuances that exist. So like when JCPenney got banned for paid links, it's like, yeah, but now they're still there and I can find them just like BMW. Yeah, you can find them by name. Google's always going to try to make sure you can find an important brand by name. They look stupid. That doesn't mean that they have to make sure BMW ranks well for cars.
Absolutely.
You know? And then they go out there, but then people can misinterpret that and think, see, anybody big can kind of get away with anything. But having said that, yeah, anybody big's got a much better chance of getting forgiveness for something they do wrong with Google than, some site that's one of 1,000 that can be easily be replaced by somebody else. And you don't want to be that one of 1,000. You want to be the one of 10.
And one question I had for you, which I actually get asked all the time, and I don't know the definitive answer. Is so I'm just Googled for SEO, and 3 out of the 10 results are for Nebraska SEO design firms.
Isn't it great?
It is, and I'm not signed into Google at all, so I am using Chrome, which don't they have over 50% market share now? And maybe I'm wrong on that, but I thought Chrome had an enormous amount of market share.
I think they're still in the 25 range, but there's a lot of people using it.
So almost 50%.
I just wrote about this last week because I was looking at Penguin and how do the results change, and I was like, so here's a search for SEO. Oh look, here's a local SEO company next to me because that's relevant. I always want to find a local company to do my SEO. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a long-standing problem in my view. I mean, I know there are people who do think I really want to get a local firm because they don't know any better. They think you need to have a local firm. But
so my core question is that a because it has SEO Lincoln, Nebraska in the title and in the context, or is that because the server IP is located there? What do you think is the strongest signal that Google sees?
Your geography. Because when I search for SEO, I don't get that. When I search for SEO, I tend to get local companies that are near me in this area. Mm-hmm. So it's much more the geography. You can test it if you go through and you go over to the left-hand side, change your location.
I'm more meaning the website owner. Is that where the website server is hosted? They're on-page SEO.
Where the server location probably doesn't have that much of an impact because chances are the Nebraska SEO server isn't actually located in Nebraska. Mm-hmm. In that case, the fact that they are saying that they're Nebraska SEO, chances are they have their actual physical address on the page somewhere. Mm-hmm. You look at the website so that Google can then say, oh, I think this site belongs here. They may have claimed a listing in Google Places as well that may have an impact in that regard. Those are the things that they tend to use more for the understanding that you're really local to a particular area.
How'd it feel to rank number 6 in Nebraska SEO? That would be
I don't know that. What's funny is the Nebraska, if you were an 8 for the longest time, I think it was SEO Guy was the #1 ranking. His forum was the #1 ranking for SEO.
Yeah.
And that's pretty good when you're #1. I know SEO Mods is always up there for me. Bruce Clay isn't up there for me at times. And that's quite an accomplishment, obviously, when you're #1 for SEO. But so I'm Googling right now for SEO. And it's interesting because this site doesn't have Lincoln, Nebraska. It has an image of Nebraska and stuff, but the only thing it has is in the actual domain. It's web-development-nebraska.com. So I don't know what all signals they use, but I'm really surprised it ranks as high as it does.
Real nice Netflix banner there.
Yeah, the
SEO company.
It looks horrible. I mean, it's a horrible looking website. So
what's the site called? See, I want to see it.
Okay, so it's
they're gonna get this huge influx of traffic.
Yeah, they're gonna be oh my, they're gonna get a Chartbeat alert.
So Chartbeat alert.
You just had a giant spike. Yeah, high five. So it's web-development-
Oh, I see them.
Nebraska.com.
I changed my location to Lincoln.
There you go.
Oh yeah.
They're very patriotic with their
that.
American flag banner and.
That's Lincoln.
They look really
That's
good.
Nebraska.
Yeah.
You got to have the two things. You got to be a patriot. You got to be a Cornhusker fan. Yeah. They don't have anything to do with Catholicism, though.
No, there's no religion mentioned.
Yeah.
They can do a big cross as their background image.
Oh, look, I see the Netflix thing now.
See, I wasn't.
Oh, my word.
They're probably making big bucks for that Netflix banner ad.
That's key for an SEO agency, for anyone listening out there. Put it, a lot of people don't know the Netflix banner is really, God, it.
Oh, Lordy.
Wow. Okay.
We should do a whole segment.
In that case, I don't see the I don't see their address being there, and I don't see one of the things that make them localized. I have this feeling that if I were to start doing some backlink looking up, I would probably find that they have things like SEO in Nebraska or something coming into it.
Yeah, they probably have a bunch of paid reviews.
But in that case, it really does seem that they've somehow determined that this is local to Nebraska. So actually, it really ought to be. I hit their contact page and I thought, well, maybe their contact page will have their address there, but maybe they've claimed it in some other way.
Yeah, I thought maybe just Nebraska in the domain, because there's not very many in Nebraska.
No, I can't imagine.
Not big competition.
It could be. It's just interesting because for it to show up when I say I'm in Lincoln, Nebraska, but I'm only searching for SEO, then that's Google saying, I think this site is related to Nebraska in some way, or to that geographic area. It just surprised me. I wouldn't think it would just be the domain name that would do it. But.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, that is definitely interesting. One thing, so Danny's been kind enough to allow me to syndicate certain articles on shoemoney.com that I've now I say I've gotten back into SEO, and I think there's a lot more to be learned right now in SEO than there is in affiliate, especially with, you see the CPA space come crumbling down. We've seen about 6 companies go under, or the FTC has seized all their assets. So that's anyway, the SEO space is really fascinating again. So I reached out to Danny and said, would you mind if I syndicated? And he's allowed me to do certain ones, and we're working that out slowly. But one of the things he was like, just make sure you put a canonical. I'm saying that wrong, I'm sure.
Canonical, yeah.
Canonical,
I had to learn that myself.
A canonical relationship within the link, and I had forgotten about that. And Matt, do you know what
when we built our site, I knew it kept asking me. I'm by no means like a web developer, but it kept asking me, and I don't even remember what it is now. What is it?
So, Danny, for those out there listening, you want to explain the importance of doing that, especially in my case with you?
So the canonical tag is a way for you to indicate to Google that if it sees multiple versions of
that's right.
what it thinks is the same story, which one is the real one.
Yeah.
So on your own website, this can happen sometimes. For example, you might have tracking codes, right, attached to the URL, and it's possible that Google crawls the same page twice and thinks they're 2 different URLs, sees the content's exactly the same, then goes, oh, I don't know which one is the one I should list. And so if you use this canonical tag, you can put on any page as a duplicate that you should look at this other page. You can point to the page you say this is the real one. This is the originating one. This is the canonical one, which is where the name comes from.
Gotcha.
And then it does that. And so then they also made it so that they can use that as a signal so that if a page is off a website, they'll understand that as well. And that can be so that sometimes people, if you want to syndicate your content, but you're thinking, oh, but is that going to screw up people finding my own content on my own site? If you do a canonical tag, then it helps Google understand that, oh, that's the originating content, and it kind of it's kind of a way of pointing back to the original way, but a little more efficiently.
It's kind of like citing your sources.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes, and that's that segues into a point also I wanted to do. One of the guys at our event, he actually has a really cool widget which actually points out all the campgrounds and all the features of the campground and stuff like that. And a lot of major newspapers will use that on their site, the results of it. And while they give the source of his URL, and by the way, it's never linking, of course, it just puts the domain name. Of course, they outrank him for that exact thing, and it really upsets him. And I said to him, you might want to talk to your attorney about the terms of use of people syndicating your content, because unlike just writing about something, when you've actually invested money and all this other stuff, and I'm not, I'm not a lawyer. I do have a little bit of experience in the courtroom, as Danny knows about. But we've had some cases here and there. But I think if you add in, so I said to him, I said, if you write USA Today and you send them some really pissed off things saying, hey, do this or I'm going to do that, I said, you might just want to say, hey, I appreciate you linking to my site. I would really appreciate if you use this relationship tag so that, Google's not confused, or just tell them, I'd really appreciate you use this kind of thing when you link to me. So that's basically, that's my take on it, and I think that also, people, I think it's a good thing to mention also, like people, steal my content all the time. And I don't know if it's stealing, but it's just, they have the syndication feed set up. So when I post something, and Danny, I know goes through this too, there's 90,000 sites that suck down the same content. So when you link to your own posts in the content, make sure that you use the relationship, the chronological tag. So that's really important. Okay, so and I really brought that up because that's something that Danny just reminded me of, and then I just talked about it over there. Let's jump into Google, some Google specific things. Specifically, one thing I want to talk to you about is Chrome and how far you think Google's going to go with leveraging privacy. And one of the things I specifically more is one of the things I love is years ago I made a post about how Google was paying Firefox and Safari a ton of money to be their default search engine, right? And I said it's all about real estate, and they're so smart about how they're doing that. And one of the Firefox developers, who was one of the lead developers, posted in comments and said, "You're full of it. The only reason we use it is because our users want to use it." And then Danny comes out to the rescue, and he's actually got cited the source of where there was the deal for Firefox that Google was paying, in fact, to be their default search engine. Now, where I'm leaning to that is, do you see more integration with Google in those web browsers?
With Chrome or with web browsers in general?
So with Safari and Firefox, they're the default search, but eventually, being that they already have a relationship, and being that Firefox and Safari or Apple doesn't want to create their own search engine, do you think that Google could possibly get a deal with them that would send them the same data that the Google toolbar used to do and that Chrome does?
Possibly. I mean, Google on the record says the Chrome is not sending them like that kind of data. Like Chrome will tell them when you are going to do a search in the little omnibox or whatever they call it. As you start to type, it's sending that query over there, and then they start to preload things. I still don't think that as you surf the web that Chrome is actually sending anything back. Now, I could be wrong, and maybe I've missed something that's been changed. They've done all these weird things where they're doing preloading and stuff like that, but I don't think that they're sending that kind of data back in that way. That was my last understanding. And I don't know that the other browsers are doing the same either, so I'm not certain that they can get that kind of data. Well, in fact, what's really been interesting is that they've even stopped offering their toolbar. Like, you can't get the Google toolbar for anything but Internet Explorer now.
That's interesting.
They pulled it for Firefox last year, and they've never offered it for Chrome. So that kind of comes into, well, where do they get their data? If they need to have the surfing data and so on. But they potentially have a better way of getting some of this because they offer their own public DNS for one, right?
Absolutely.
So they're like,
I didn't think
hey,
of that, but yeah.
Use our DNS and we'll speed everything up. It'd be great. And hey, which city got the free Wi-Fi from Google, or they're getting all wired up?
Yeah, that's interesting. Remember when Google put out that whole, we want to run gigabit to everyone's house for free? Yeah. And Nebraska actually, but I love their deal because it was like, we want to give this to you absolutely for free, and just have your local, contact your local politicians and have them contact. So of course they're flooding, and I have a friend here who works for the government here in the local office, and he said, we just got completely swamped with calls, so we of course contacted them, and they got back with us with the deal of course we subsidize everything, and they just basically want us to run free fiber to everyone's house, and then they're going to give the internet to everybody. And I thought, what a brilliant scheme. Brilliant. I don't know that they actually was successful to provide any city with fiber throughout the city.
No, there was the city that got it, and I can't remember the name.
Kansas City.
Kansas City, that was it. Because they did the
we
whole
were
thing
jealous because we were so close, but yet so far away.
So, but Google's always been brilliant. The one thing I've always really admired with them was, even with the YouTube acquisition, a lot of people were saying, that just doesn't make sense. It doesn't make as much money and blah, blah, blah. And I said, yeah, it's real estate, though. It's such an incredible amount of real estate, and then buying their way into the search engine. They've always parlayed their cash into more real estate. And it's like
they always say, like, if you're the thing with, like, McDonald's doesn't sell hamburgers, they're a real estate company. It's all about the real estate. They own, like, more real estate than any other company in the world. It's all about the land you own. It's not necessarily about the burgers you're cooking.
Absolutely. And so that's why I wondered about the browser. If anyone is curious, you can there's a headers plugin that you can download for Chrome or extension, and it'll actually show you what's being transmitted as you surf throughout the net. And you'll see like some data transmitted, like your type ahead. It'll show them what site you're on, what you're typing ahead, and stuff like that. Now, I think a really interesting thing is if you hit a page that's got Google AdSense on it, all the stuff that's transmitted. So that's pretty interesting to me. And I think Google fascinates me because it depends on if a lot of people remember this or not, but I'm just always surprised at I've had reporters contact me when Yahoo was or when Microsoft was looking at buying Yahoo or they were doing the search deal and everything, and they were like, "What do you think about this?" And I said, "Well, you remember when Yahoo didn't or Microsoft didn't have their own thing, and you had to go through. Wasn't that the way it was? It was you had to go through Yahoo no, it was the other way around. Like you had to go through Microsoft to advertise on Yahoo. Yeah. One or the other." And so, gosh, I'm like mixed up today. I'm jacked up on coffee. So, but I said, "You remember that?" And they were like, "No." And I was like, "Okay, well, here's all the sources for that." But now you've got, and then we had that whole era of Internet Explorer tied in with the desktop, and then you remember the government fined, was it like $1 million a day to Microsoft, and Microsoft just ate it for a long time because they were like, "Well, we're making so much more money." But if you look at Google, they've got the desktop, the laptop, the search engine, the mobile platform, and these things aren't small. These things are major. I mean, the Android obviously is a major player, with the browser having 20-some% of the market, with, between YouTube and Google, they have incredible search, market share, obviously. And then you just look at everything else. And now they're getting the social market share with Plus, which is, you almost have to have a Google Plus anymore. You don't really have an option, I think, if you have a website. So my point to you is how far, I guess is, well, let's just go with the first one, is how far do you think Google can go before the government's going to chop them up?
I don't know. I did this thing a few years ago. It was like, after the Google breakup, and I talked about how they might get broken up. Like, would you break up analytics and say you can't have AdSense if you're also running a search engine? And I don't know that they're going to do that kind of a breakup. It seems like that possibly they might try to say that you have to carry some of your competitors in some way, that maybe you have to find a way that people can change Google shopping search to next tag or Google local search to Yelp. And I say that because it's been the competitors who've been screaming the loudest that, well, we're not getting enough traffic from Google, so we need to have something fixed. Microsoft hasn't been going in saying things like, well, gosh, we don't have as much data as Google because they see analytics, they see all this other stuff, so you shouldn't break that sort of things up. In fact, Microsoft really hasn't been saying anything but funding all these other companies to say things. So, I think that might be what'll happen, that they'll come up with some kind of weird, you're a vertical search engine, therefore you get some kind of protections from Google or some kind of thing, if it even comes to that.
I just see as they enter the television market, they just in August they acquired Motorola Mobility, which actually, and that was a $12.5 billion deal. I just looked it up because I want to make sure I had the numbers right on that, and that was a huge play in the mobile space. Right. They've bought digital coupon sites. They're all
American companies too.
If you Google for like Google buys, the number one result will be Wikipedia, and they'll have all their acquisitions throughout the years, and it's really fascinating because they've bought just recently they bought an online payment service. As you look through here, you'll say like, oh my gosh, they are involved in this. And eventually it's like, I don't know. I could just, if the government was not okay with Microsoft having the browser and the desktop and the search engine, I forget which exact part of that, but geez, Google has just done, they're
a lot bigger than just.
So then the second part of my question is, do you think Well, one, do you think our economy plays into this of like, do we really want to stop an American company's growth right now? And number two is also kind of political, is that, obviously Google, Schmidt was on Obama's, team for something, and I think he's a close advisor in there with the president and stuff like that. Somehow, I think he had to resign that, but something like that. No, he resigned his Apple thing. So anyway, I think he's still on Obama's dealio. Do you think that the government tie-ins would help? I mean, at this point?
Well, it's hard. They're coming under more scrutiny right now under the Obama administration than they were coming under, if you will, the Bush administration, right? That the whole Senate trust hearings that are happening and the being looked at and whatnot. There's an argument to say that actually you may want Obama to be able to say, look, I took a harder look at them than because they've gotten the donations, I've made an example of them or whatnot. I think that, really their biggest threat is simply that they're such a big target that politicians just think that there's some career to be made over this, regardless. That, well, someone needs to take them down because they're just too big.
Yeah, and they've got a bazillion lawsuits against them.
Says our giant government.
Yeah.
So and I don't know that the Schmidt thing. At one point, it was talked that Schmidt might be going over and becoming like the Commerce Secretary or whatever, and then that all kind of dropped aside. You could say, well, Google has close ties with the current administration, but then it seems like everybody in Silicon Valley has close ties. There was that dinner that happened at either Zuckerberg's house or somebody's house where it was like every technology CEO was sitting around the table and having a chat. So they're all well good tied up, I suppose. So I don't know that they have any particular protection, because they're friends with the politicians. I think that they're just more becoming like any big business where they have to go out and duke it out and say that they, to lobby for what they want and what they don't want, just like the other companies do. And
I mean, do you think their approach of open source for everything, and that they're not actually, they're not profiting from Android or Firefox directly, you know what I mean? But they're paying their nonprofit, service. I think they're so creative in the way that they do it, I think is what I'm getting at.
Well, they have played the whole we're open and everything's open game for a while, but I don't think that plays as well with some people any longer. It's clear that Android isn't necessarily as open as they make it out to be. They have their own forks, and they, have some partners that get it before other partners, and they have reasons why that may happen. But, I called it Clopen. Other people have called it Clopen as well. But, it's open in one sense, but the things that are out there still are really heavily tied to Google. Having said that, the Android, the Kindle Fire, which is based off of Android, is basically taking the code that Google did put out there and doing what it wants with it, which isn't promoting Google.
And the Chrome stuff that they put out there is fantastic. The open source stuff.
Right.
So yeah, I just look at this $12 billion acquisition of Motorola Mobility, and I'm thinking to make phones, and I'm thinking like, that is just, that's what, 4 times as much as their next one, which was DoubleClick.
How do you quantify that much money?
Well, I think
that's crazy.
It was fairly. I think it was obviously a numbers play, but I think Motorola as a general was looking to.
Well, and part of it is because of the patents. I mean, what did they just pay for the patents off of AOL, which was like $1 billion that Microsoft bought patents for, and then Facebook came along, and I think it took and paid $600,000 or $600 million. I can't, it's just stupid money, right? But I mean, it's like, if you're going to pay $1 million just for $1 billion just for patents, paying $12 billion for a company with patents doesn't so crazy.
Yeah, that's true. And it's kind of like a talent acquisition or it's a patent acquisition where it doesn't seem to make sense on paper.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's so amounts. Sizable, and being that it's 4 times more than they paid for DoubleClick and stuff. But anyway, you make a great point about that specifically. So, all right, so that's a lot of Google. And one of the things I love just talking about mobile and patents is when Google decided to call the iPhone. Remember, and Cisco had that deal, and they just did it anyway. And Cisco said, "We'll sue you if you do it," and they said, "Okay, we're gonna call it the iPhone." Anyway, that's what I love about big companies with huge war chests. They just kind of do what they want.
Yeah.
All right, so SMX, what's the next event you got coming up?
The next one we have is SMX London, which will happen in about 2 weeks. Which is pretty exciting because we have Amit Singhal, who I keep joking to try to explain him. I'm like, people know Matt Cutts, and I always say, like, well, Amit's smarter than Matt. Mm-hmm. I don't really mean it that way, but he oversees all of the Google search algorithms, period. Matt works on the spam team. Mm-hmm. And so, we're excited we have him out there as a keynote to be talking. And then our SMX Advanced show in Seattle, which sold out yesterday, so people can still get workshop passes and they can still come out to the conference, but it's sold out every year, and we're really pleased about it. And this past year, this time is faster than it's ever sold out before.
What's the date on that Seattle event?
I believe it is the 6th and 7th, if I recall, but I would have I'd have to do a Google search of
June or okay.
Yeah,
I'm gonna try to make it out for that one. Even if it's just an expo hall deal, just because like I said, as I'm kind of getting back, and I've been touching base with a lot of old friends and stuff.
Yeah,
and
well, that's a good one. There's a lot of vets that are out there as well. It's nice. It was the first of the series that we did where we had a lot of people who would kind of come out and kind of everybody knew each other. And then we'll get to our SMXE show, which will be in October. I think it's October out in New York. We might have gone back to September, always right on the cusp of that month.
Awesome.
October 2nd, and that's one of our big shows that it's sort of like we call it our supermarket show, where there's all sorts of stuff for people.
And for those, I went to Danny's first show, and that was really awesome. And Danny has such an incredible following that when he did split off from that other company, who I'm surprised still is even doing conferences, then that's me who said that, not Danny. But
I'll be here silently.
Yeah, but basically. Danny puts on a great show, and I always say Danny's more like the people's champion and really relates to, as Danny could attest, like when he started the new show, everyone was like, we're going to Danny's show, because it was like Team Danny, right? We should have got shirts that said Team Danny.
We didn't have Twilight then.
Yeah, that's true. So, but anyway, yeah, so everyone went over there, and it was really that initial show was really great. So I highly recommend people to attend SMX. I'm going to be going to them again, and so I really look forward to it. I look forward to seeing the old gang and touching base with everybody. So congrats on all your success with SMX and Search Engine Land.
And same to you. The Shoemoney Empire continues to grow.
Empire. Ooh, I haven't heard that.
I know.
Shoemoney Empire.
Thanks. We've actually consolidated a lot to focus on like 3 core properties now. So we used to have so many different things going on, and I was just going nuts with my kids and stuff. So yeah. It's now, we've consolidated, and I think we're operating a lot leaner, better. And I just completely retooled my staff. So I think the oldest employee here has been here about a year. So wow. It's been a big change here, but.
Yep.
So anyone, if you don't read Search Engine Land, searchengineland.com, it's a big mistake because Danny has incredible writers, great team, and they're actually a new site. Don't get confused between Shoemoney and a site like Search Engine Land. They're a new site. They have excellent writers. My site is mostly, you don't know what the hell is going on. All right. So, and it's opinionated, and I never really let facts get in the way of a good story.
Well, now that Lost is off the air,
I know.
Just the amount of blogs every week is just plummeted.
I know.
No more Lost.
And then I did that post about Mark Zuckerberg's penis.
I missed that one.
Yeah, it was actually just about how I was going to the bathroom next to him, and he was leaning back a little bit, and I said, would you look? And so, Danny, would you have looked?
No, I wouldn't.
Well, we'll talk about that.
I'd look straight ahead.
All right, well, I'm never going to tell.
He probably has like a team that watches him pee, and if anyone looks, they go after him and kidnap him, put him in the back of a van.
This was years and years ago. I mean, this was at the first TechCrunch Awards ever, and it was a good time. But yeah, so anyway, that was what got me pulled from Yahoo News. So the Mark Zuckerberg's penis was the title. So I never belonged.
Who would have thought?
Never belonged in Yahoo News anyway. That was Hey Tim, think you could help me out and give me a Yahoo News? And I think it came down as more of a directive from him, but before he parted. So I'm not going to say his last name, but I think we all know who Tim is. So anyway, all right, Danny. Well, thank you so much for being a part of this first show.
You're welcome.
We only dropped out once, so that was better than we all expected. So that was good.
It was good. And when the replay happens, you won't even see it.
Yeah, it'll be us talking about what the make $1 million in a night idea.
I know you got
whatever that was. If only we'd recorded it.
Yeah. I hope that made the final cut. So.
Unbelievable. All right, Danny. Thank you so much. And
you guys are very welcome. Thanks for having me.
Talk to you soon.
Thanks, man.
All right. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Well, there we go.
We didn't even get the Skype. Whoop.
Oh, yeah, we should. Well, it depends. If we want those on, we can put them on.
I like that.
Really?
I actually like the Skype when I hang up.
Soothing noises.
Well, because that's how I know, like, not to talk smack about somebody. Because otherwise you're like, God, you sound like a dick.
What a douche. He didn't know anything.
Jerk.
Oh, can we say douche?
I'd rather we'll bleep it out for the replay. I don't like that word, douche. There's another bleep.
Why is that a curse word? It's just an object.
It's good. By the way, if anyone's ever seen my site, facedouche.com, have you ever
seen that, yeah.
It's like, I think it's one of the coolest sites that nobody uses.
I think it had like 11 friends I should remove of my 12.
So what Face Douche does is it actually, much like other products of the same name, is like if your Facebook doesn't have that not so fresh feeling, and you want to clean it up a little bit, you can go to Face Douche, and what it does is it goes through your profile, it finds all the images, or it finds all your friends who are using the default profile, right? Because they're obviously not using Facebook, or they're just spammers. So it'll put them in a group. It won't delete anyone. It'll just put them in groups, and then it'll also look for the bottom 20% who don't update their status, right? So people have gone so long from updating their status, then it'll, and it's not just update their status, but upload a picture, do anything, any sort of activity on Facebook. So it'll put those kinds of people in a group as well. And so then it's pretty freaking cool.
I like how you just build things that you think are funny and fun, and there's like no way to possibly monetize them. It's just because you want to do it.
What's the last one? Can you remember the last stupid thing I built?
The last stupid thing you
better
built
not say offer pools, because that's a cool thing.
No, that was good. And plus there was a way to make money with that. But like with Face Douche, there's no...
Like Lincoln Crime would have to be the last one.
Yeah, that's true.
If you go to lincolncrime.com, you can search. It's hilarious. There's nothing like it. And I don't know if you read the article with me and the Lincoln entrepreneur thing that I was in.
No, I didn't.
It said, because I talked to him, I said, we build all this stuff, and I showed him lincolncrime.com, and they said, well, you're pulling this data from where? And I said, well, actually, here's how we get it, and and they don't store it, but we store it.
Yeah.
And so they said, great, and that's all we talked about with it. But then the article, it says, Jeremy Shoemaker in partnership with the Lincoln Police Department. Shit. And I was like, not really. So, yeah. Yeah, we're just basically scraping their data. But if you go to lincolncrime.com, you can see our little fun.
Yeah.
I integrated it with Google Maps and whatnot.
We should just make one stupid site a year that has no way to make money, but it's just fun to do.
Yeah. So I think with we're going a little long, but I think with the cutout and everything will be good. So let's wrap it up here. I just want to say thanks everybody for watching our initial show. And next week we will go through and we'll look at the iPad stuff, and we will be drawing for that kind of stuff. So
we moved the drawing back to next week, right?
Right.
There's too much setup today. We got a little crazy.
Lost the camera feed, and it was like, what are we gonna do? So next week, promise, we'll draw for both weeks' iPads, and those we don't really have a sponsor for those, so if there's a company out there that wants to spring for those, that'd be great.
Yeah, we have one week left to get a sponsor for.
Yeah, we do. So we'll see you 2 weeks from today, which will be the 14th. Is our next show?
We're doing 2 weeks.
Yeah, the 14th, right?
Yeah, that'd be the 15th. Right?
Okay, maybe we should just do it like the 1st and 15th, because today's the 1st.
Yeah, that works. Let's just 1st and 15th of every month.
1st and 15th.
So it won't be. I mean, it's gonna
unless it falls on a Saturday or Sunday.
Yeah.
Maybe we could do it the 1st and 2nd Tuesday.
That works. Yeah.
1st and 2nd Tuesday
of every month. And it'll be, that'll work.
And then we may go to a weekly eventually. We'll have to see how it goes and see how the sponsors go and everything.
Are we?
Did I mention HostGator?
Maybe like half a time. I don't know if they heard it.
It's a great deal if you go to Shoemoney. if you enter Shoemoney, actually, when you sign up.
Well, we should put a little banner on the bottom.
Can you go to hostgator.com/Shoemoney?
I don't know. You know, Face Douche is down. Salzano is correct. I tried to pull it up.
No, actually, if you go to /Shoemoney, it does not exist. So
HostGator.
Unlike Bluehost,
so
HostGator, get your crap in gear, because if you go to bluehost.com/Shoemoney, which will actually give you a free domain for life.
Why are we mentioning that?
Well, because HostGator is actually the official sponsor of the show. So look at their sweet page.
Is that Photoshop?
No,
is that real?
That's Bluehost.
No, the girl with the Shoemoney shirt. Is that real or is that Photoshop?
No, that's 100% Photoshopped.
that is badly Photoshopped.
So bluehost.com/Shoemoney
God.
maybe will become our new sponsor.
So how do I type? I just went to HostGator. How do I get this?
I don't even. Just sign up and use code Shoemoney.
Oh, and that like gives once you do the checkout, you can do promo code.
I guess it'd be a lot better if they made a site like this, though.
You know,
Bluehost has their stuff in gears. And people out there looking. I mean, if you go to bluehost.com/Shoemoney, you can see like that's a sweet landing page.
That is.
Whereas if you go to hostgator.com and then go through their whole thing and then enter Shoemoney code when you check out, that's not a great branded Shoemoney experience.
But what are you gonna do?
All right, we're gonna wrap the show.
Both, so
I'd like to say thanks to Matt, who will never be my co-host again.
Probably not.
And Matt is actually, if you ever seen our video at Link Control or Offer Pools, or what's the other one you did for us? FreeSEOreport.com.
Yeah, all the motion graphics.
The Shoemoney system, kind of like closer teaser videos and stuff like that. So if you're looking for an internet marketing video, go through me, because then I'll mark it up and then it'll go to.
I'm glad you said that. Yeah, that sounds perfect.
Or you can go to, if you don't actually already know exactly what you want, like literally, like if you know, like here's my script I wrote, here's what I want, you can go directly to them. If you want me to like write your awesome script,
that's probably a better idea.
I'll charge you a lot, but
you're much better at writing scripts.
And the scripts that freaking sell.
That's right.
I mean, that's what I do. All right, everybody. So we'll see you 2 weeks from today. On Tuesday the 15th.
Yeah, Tuesday the 15th.
We'll
do iPad stuff then.
Yeah, we'll do iPad stuff.
We're gonna get like a big bowl. We'll put all your names in there. We'll go through all the comments, because all the comments save.
Should we do iPad? Did we say we're doing iPad 3s or iPad 2s?
I don't think we specified.
I think we should just do iPad 3s.
Whatever.
Okay,
we'll do it.
Well, you can buy one and I'll buy one.
We're doing two now?
Well, we got to do it for both shows. For this show and last show.
Oh, I thought we were just going to pull everyone. We'll figure it out.
No, we can't do that to people.
All right, we'll give one away.
Thank you, everybody, for tuning in.
We have some cool outro music, too. We'll try. I think so. Do we have that, Brock?
Can we cue that?
Oh, okay. Yeah, let's cue that up and get that going.
All right, thanks. Also, I'd like to leave you with a little Deck the Halls beatbox.
So this music, by the way, you can try to figure it out. It's from a well-known band, but it's the 8-bit version. People can try to figure that out.
Hopefully it's not copyrighted. I'm not going to get sued.
No, it's free. Right, Brock? It's free.
Otherwise, it's 2010 Productions you can go after. They've indemnified me of all legal. All right, everybody.
Thanks, guys.
Love you. Long time.